Yo guys, Beast back with some more beastly content. Today we are back with the Mushroom Island Challenge. I have packed up as much stuff as I can and moved to the Mushroom Island. I am not allowed to leave this Mushroom Island until 100 days have passed. Right now we are on the first day. If you missed the first video, which I'm not sure titling still on this entire series actually, I'm not sure on titling still, but if you haven't seen the first video, I did all of the packing and gathering of all my materials from my underground base, and my final departure from my underground base for the next 100 in-game days, and now we are doing this. So what we are building here is a wonderful, wonderful barrel setup here. We're just going to be placing 4 barrels here so that we can just real quickly access ourselves some nice place to just drop stuff when we have crap in our inventory we don't have a sorter for, especially starting out due to the fact that we don't have any sort of chest storage right now. It's just the simplest storage system I can build here, but I still wanted to make it nice, and it will have use even in the future when I am above ground. However, eventually we will be transitioning into the below ground region of the game, though that will require us to acquire ourselves some gold so we can make ourselves a clock so we can keep track of the days from there. So just now, the end of day 1, this sun, it is setting. Technically it's not 100 days and nights, it's 100 days. You can sleep, and we did sleep on our first day. For some reason we were mining up the bed, but that's just because this is not the final place for a bed. Even for a spawn point, we do not want that bed ever placed here on this mushroom. Everything placed on this mushroom is temporary. It's just where we've placed all of our shulker full of items from our old base. And now we are placing down the barrels here, as you can see here. This is the second day, and we are still working on the crafting setup area. We do have the barrels placed down here. We placed down some nice little lamps up there in the center there, and then as you can see, all the stair designs and everything. The next thing we're going to do is build a little bit of a stone canopy sort of thing going out, jutting from the side here. We just ended up building it, what is 6 blocks long. That felt totally fine for me for just a general crafting area. It will eventually have a furnace and a stone cutter as well, so that we're able to cut all sorts of different blocks. We brought a few different types of blocks that we'll be able to cut into a few different types of blocks in that way itself too, allowing us to build just a nicer base, and it'll be a lot better having a stone cutter. Crafting the block is a lot more expensive than using a stone cutter for most stone items. That is why even with auto crafting, stone cutters still have their place in this world. But as you can see here, we're just building the canopy here, and I was almost tempted to do like a cabinet sort of design up here on the top here, and I think I might actually end up going back and doing that. This isn't the final design by any means, this is just the first design, but for now we've been keeping it pretty simple, just keeping it as a little outline here, and then we're going to add some posts here, and we're going to fix the roof to where the posts are actually touching the roof, so we're just going to drop the slabs on the side there just by 1 height there, so that they're sitting directly on top of the post. It still looks like the roof flows down to them, and I think it makes it like a nice, interesting look. This whole-ish area is kind of like a mystic or like a forgotten society sort of like look to the entire place. That is kind of what I've been going for on the Mushroom Island, because I do plan on decorating the entirety of the Mushroom Island. The Mushroom Island itself, I'm not 100% restricted to, but I'm only able to go to nearby areas via boat travel. That is the only way I'm allowed to visit other areas, and I am not allowed to visit my underground base, even though I'm sure it is very possible to visit it boat travel, and honestly, I think boat travel would be fair. If I wanted to boat travel to my underground base, that could be fair, and maybe that is another possible way of me actually accessing my storage there and using some of the items I have there. Because it is a long trip via boat. It would take a decent amount of time. But as you can see there, we have finally finished the roof there. Just a little bit of a thought process on there. This is once again the second day of this here 100 days sort of dealio here. We are choosing to do episodes just because I wanted to make sure these are actually real 100 days spent in the Mushroom Island. We may make a full 100 days video at the end of this series here that'll just combine them all, and maybe, I don't know, we'll see how it goes. But for now, we are doing an episode based, and this is going to be the first 5 days. We are currently on the second day. Building this little crafting area out here, I ended up just using polished andesite slabs here. I think it looks nice. It goes with the rest of it. Overall, I really like this little crafting area here. It's simple, but it is great for just starting out in the Mushroom Island, not having a base with a crafter or anything like that. Anything of the complex. It really just takes you back to the simplicity of Minecraft, while still having all of my original armor and everything, you know, that I had, all my gear, so I have all my netherite stuff with mending on it. So I'm just trying not to use any of these tools too hard until I get a chicken XP farm setup going on, because once I have a chicken XP setup going on, we will be in business and our tools will never be broken once again. That's what I was doing at my old underground base, and now we're gonna have to build a new one here. I have a couple ideas for how to do it differently, a little bit more efficiently this time. The last one I did is just kind of like, well, it's a room that a bunch of chickens are spawned in, and one dispenser powers it, and the clock it runs, you have to kick on every now and again. It wasn't the most efficient. But what we're currently doing right now is hopping on a boat. Like I said, we are allowed to visit nearby areas, and we're just going to be taking all of the beaches. Like I've said previously, I don't really want to do much work on the above ground areas, except for in like rare or very like important areas, like ocean monuments. I've done a base there. It's a marketplace base. It has nothing but villager trade stations there. I haven't worked on it in forever. I did hollow the entire thing out though and get the trade station set up, so I do go there for trade sometimes. I do need to fully decorate it out and finish it off, maybe do some more floors. I don't know exactly what all I'm going to be doing with that monster, but it is tied directly to the nether, so I can always portal in more villagers there and add more villager traders probably. So we may end up doing that eventually. However, once again, that would be something I'd want to do off camera, because that's not part of this Mushroom Island challenge, and I have 100 days to play, so due to my scheduling and everything, it's just going to take me a little bit to get this done. But this is going to be the third and the fourth day collecting this sand. We ended up spending our third and fourth day collecting sand. We also ended up collecting sandstone, which we will be seeing here eventually. But for now, as you can see, boom, this little beach area is done. Time to move on to the next beach area. Well, of course, after we take our boat back, because for some reason, one of these guys decided to take our boat. Working through the night maybe wasn't the best decision here, but I just wanted to get as much sand collected as possible. I wanted to get a couple shulkers full of sand and at least a shulker full of sandstone, and that is what we did manage to accomplish here. As you can see, as we moved on over to this area actually is a chain of island or sand beaches, and I use Chunkbase's seed map so that I can just like see what biomes are nearby on where I'm at. That's how I found the Mushroom Island and used another portal. And if I want to go to somewhere far away, I'll just use another hub and build another portal and instantly portal there. It works out very, very well, but once again, we're not allowed to do anything like that. We can only use existing bases that are not including my underground base in the nether hub. I am allowing myself to use my nether hub just because my nether hub really does need some work, and I really would like to see my nether hub finished. But right now, once again, the current progress here is just gathering as much sand as possible, 2 shulkers full. I just really like to watch all the sand go away in a really fast speed. I just think it's a very nice, satisfying thing to see every single time. It's amazing to watch. But as you can see here, this is a big beach. This took a lot. There's still so much sand here to harvest. But since we came out with 2 shulkers full, that is plenty enough sand for some glass. We are going to be needing some glass for this. I am wanting to have a lot of multiple windows out into the above ground areas when I'm doing the underground areas that I'm going to be doing, and then even things that are above ground I might want to use some glass on. That is something that in my previous base I never had any of, was sand. I actually never went around and actually collected a whole bunch of sand. I did excavate a couple beaches and find some buried treasure, but all of that glass was used in a very starter design, which is being just the top area. This is the above ground area of my underground base. It's just absolutely hideous now to me compared to the rest of my underground base, and that's kind of the other reason why I wanted to start this Mushroom Island build here, is that my underground base is now awesome in the crafting area, and that floor alone pretty much. I mean, I like all the other floors too. I have a lot of other nice floors. There's the farm floor. There's a lot to my underground base. It's really nice. But as you can see here, we have finally gotten to where we're soon we'll be collecting the sandstone. We're just filling our shulkers here up. This is, I do believe, our second shulker, and it is nearly full here, as you see. But now we're just going to go ahead and start mining the sandstone. And the sandstone mined so quick already, it almost looked like a time lapse. And then when I actually sped it up in the editor, it started going so much faster. It's just crazy to see how much sandstone was mined here. Now, I'd like to say we collected 2 shulkers of sandstone as well. However, unfortunately, due to the fact that we ended up working through the 3rd day's night as well, we ended up just getting to just at, I think we might be a little bit under, but we're pretty close to 2 shulkers full of sand, which is completely fine for me. Once again, like I have said, I don't think I'm going to need that much sand, at least not yet. And we fought through all the monsters through here. We had 1.5 hearts for quite a long time, collecting more and more sandstone. But eventually we ended up making ourselves a little bit of a sandstone doom cave where there was nothing but monsters in there. We ended up coming out with 1/2 of a heart left. Luckily, our armor had been saving us. And then when we went to our boat, there was a spider in the trench. There was a witch in the corner. And then there was that dude in our boat who was just kind of chilling, and he was fine. So we killed the witch, we killed that guy, and we made our way back to the Mushroom Island. I don't mind working into the night on the Mushroom Island as much as I do not like working into the night on any other area that is not a Mushroom Island. And hey, look, that is actually a underwater nether portal there. If you guys missed that, it's a ruined portal. I actually didn't notice that. Also, here is just kind of like a side view of the Mushroom Island. So, you know, this is kind of like the smallest Mushroom Island I've seen in a little bit. That's why I wanted to tackle this. I also plan on doing a dock here eventually on the outside, at least in the front. I might not do a dock on the other sides. I might make it more of like a wall design on all the other sides. I'm not quite sure what the plan is for that. I just know that I want to have the entirety of the top of the island decorated. The island is going to be one of those rare exceptions in my world where the above ground actually has anything going on, really. I want to keep almost nothing going on the above ground in my underground base, or in my entire world. But as we can see here, we've now built ourselves just a little bit of a hobbit hole there where we can sleep on. We're about to be into the 4th day, guys. We have survived 4 days of the Mushroom Island Challenge, and I feel like we're not even close to anywhere near what I want to see done to this wonderful island here. Hopefully by the end of the 100 days, we have some great progress going on. Otherwise, we might have to spend another 50, maybe 100 more days on this Mushroom Island and unable to return to our base more. It just depends on how I am happy with the progress of this. And heck, we might even just start to live at the Mushroom Island and make an underground tunnel all the way to our underground base so we can just use it. Or maybe the Mushroom Island is just going to be our new base and we won't use the old one. I have talked about starting an entirely new base before, and this honestly is starting to feel very good to me. I've seen like an opinion once that was like, never start a new base, just keep building your old one. And while that is a cool idea, eventually it does get old, and just especially when on an underground base, when you just keep bridging out and expanding out and expanding out and expanding out, and starting multiple room projects at a time, and starting multiple large-scale room projects at a time, it gets to be a burnout thing, and I do hope that I am able to return to my underground base once the 100 days at this Mushroom Island is over. However, I am just very concerned that I'm going to fall in love with this base way more than my old base, just because the experience of building my old base should make it to where this base is a much nicer base and a much nicer island. This entire island is going to be the base. Though the base itself will be more of an inside the island thing. But once again, that's getting a little bit ahead of the steps here. Right now, we are just getting the base start of the base done. And what that includes is just this little walkway area here. And the stairway, we just ended up expanding this out. The main reason I did this actually was just to make it to where in the hobbit hole you didn't see any sky or anything, and because of the hobbit hole I had to expand that out. But also I liked it expanding out to this little support areas. I like those being on concrete. That just seems more structurally sound to me. But as you can see here, a full shulker full of sandstone. Wonderful. And we do of course have 64 more here. But besides that, the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is just get ourselves this little area here dug out. We're just going to dig it out enough for hopefully most of the redstone mechanisms, because we're going to be wanting to make a redstone activated door that's going to be kind of a secret door. There will be a piston that's just kind of tucked away or blended into the design that will actually end up being, you know, the opener of the door. For now, we've just got the hole dug out here. We will come back to this in a little bit, but for now, voila, the entrance to the base is now opened up just a little bit more. The next few days 5 to 10, should be nothing but building that door, getting the base builded out, probably hollowing out the entirety of that mountain directly beside us here. Because I want to hollow that mountain out, and I want it to pass over into another flattened out area of mushroom land. I want the entire island, no matter, I don't know, it's interesting. We'll see what's going on. I do want to cover, once again, like I said, I want to build all over the island. None of the island wants to be an untouched area. I want it to feel like the entire island's been created into a base, and we will see at the end of the 100 days. Once again, this is, I do believe, the 5th day, I'm thinking. The 5th day, actually, right here. And we are just waiting on our furnace to smelt. So we need 3 pieces of smooth stone in order to make our stone cutter. The stone cutter just makes a super duper nice, convenient way of taking blocks and just cutting them directly into stairs or slabs or anything else, and it's a direct block conversion. It's a 1-to-1 block conversion, whereas in the crafting table you might need multiple of the same block, and it will save you a lot on blocks. And when you're limited to just like a handful of shulkers worth of material, hopefully we're able to make our materials stretch and get a nice little base laid out before we actually have to play survival again. Because right now we're playing stockpile games, because this is all just stuff we took from our old base and our current playthrough. And this is eventually going to feel a little bit more like a fresh start, just with really good weapons and stuff. And right here we're just removing a mushroom that had the bottom already broken on it. I just didn't like it. Maybe it opened up the area here a little bit more. I don't know yet. We haven't really designed this entire area out yet. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing design-wise for the rest of the other areas, or when I'm even going to get to those. I think the next step is just going to be to hollow out this entire mountain once we finish the redstone for this door and get this door finished off, and hopefully figure out a little bit more of what we're doing on the entrance there. Now that we built the little crafting area, I'm actually starting to question if I even want to build a temple in front of this doorway, or just make it this doorway with the lever maybe even being around the crafting area, so it's really a hidden base. But as you can see, we're just at the mushroom, and I'm not going to show the mushroom full of shulkers often, just because it takes so long to go through that, and this video is already 20 minutes long, and it was an hour worth, was an hour just to get to this 5th day here, you know, doing all this. Now we're just adding some deep slate here. We're going to be creating the wall, because we're only going to be having a 2x2x4, a 2x2 doorway here, so it's going to be 4 blocks total that are just going to open up when you flip a switch and then close back up. So we just built that little doorway there, and then we're also going to end up placing blocks down both sides there, just so that we can place some of our redstone down. I am very sure we're going to need to place redstone down on the ground level, of which we're going to walk on to. We didn't actually build any sort of like a doorway floor there yet, but we will get to that soon. As you can see here, this is literally the farthest we can expand out on this side, at least. The rest of it should expand out further from what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that side just got shorter than the rest of it. But we will see. Hopefully we're able to fit all the redstone in there. Hopefully we don't have to adjust the door where maybe it's just like a one single door that opens up. I may actually do that. I may actually just go ahead and say whatever, dude, and just make it a 1x1 or a 1x2 doorway. But I do believe this is the end of the video. Day 5 is done. See you in the next one, but I'm out. See you. Keep it beast mode.